When I want to find out what are the biggest trends impacting advisors, I gather some of the smartest people I know. Kate Healy from TD. We've got Clarke from Orion. Guys, thanks so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you, Matt.
So Kate, what do you see as some of the biggest issues that are facing advisors right now?
There's a lot facing advisors, but a couple that really come to mind are just the demographic shift. So the intergenerational wealth transfer and succession planning and how those two tie together. And then really diversity in this industry, which I think feeds into how we can create an industry that has enough people to fulfill the succession planning needs.
Absolutely. Now, Eric, another issue that advisors have been talking to me a lot about too is ESG investing. I think it's so interesting to see this growing at such a rate, but what are you hearing about that?
ESG investing is huge. You know, Eaton Vance recently hosted a sessions at a Barron's conference, and they cited a survey where over 70% of investors had ESG considerations, yet only 7% of advisory firms felt equipped and prepared to implement those considerations within their investment portfolios. So ESG is a big deal right now, and there is a big gap that exists in our industry.
Yeah. Now you guys are doing something to close that gap a bit, right? Kate, you guys have recently introduced some new ESG products.
Yeah, we just put ESG into our model market center because when you look at the next generation, they truly care about what they're investing in. And you know, I know you just came back from Haiti, Matt, but the next generation care about what they invest in. And they care more about that than sometimes even performance. They want performance, but they're willing to give up a little bit to make sure that they're making the world a better place, and ESG investing is a way for them to do that.
And advisors say it's changing the conversation. That's really what it's all about, Eric, right? Having those great conversations with clients and finding those touch points so that you can keep them as clients for a longer time.
That's exactly right. When they're investing in the portfolios and things that they care about beyond performance, it makes quite a difference in deepening that client relationship. And today, with the technology capabilities that are available to us, we can specifically implement ESG portfolios based on that client's specific concerns and considerations instead of broadly grouping those clients into buckets based on what others may or may not have in common with their values.
That's excellent. Now, Eric, technology is always top of mind for everything that's going on at Orion. What are some of the big technology trends that you guys are hearing about that advisors are worried about?
Yeah. Taking advantage of technology to leverage an advisor's time is more important than ever before. With ever increasing pressure on fees and the commoditization of asset management, advisors need to be leveraging technology in ways that maybe historically they haven't done before. They can leverage technology to help them reduce the amount of time that they're spending to build customized portfolios for clients, including clients with ESG considerations.
Absolutely. Now, Kate, we just finished a FinTech summit back in New York at Investment News, and the big themes we heard a lot about were integration and adoption. Now, for you guys, you talk about integration a lot, but how do you make sure these advisors are really adopting these great platforms that TD, Orion have available to them?
Yeah, it's the biggest challenge, right? And I think that's why it's so important also to make sure you're hiring the next generation of investors because they get it. They grew up with integration. Convenience through apps is so important to them. They're going to push you to make sure that you are integrating. It is no use making the investment in technology if you're not taking advantage of all of it. And so we do a lot to try to train advisors on those integrations. We've got an integration analyzer that lets you know which softwares and technologies integrate the best with each other so you can really make sure you're maximizing your technology investment. But it's so important to look at that because if you're not maximizing it, it's not worth spending the money.
And Eric, you stand at the crux often of that integration crossroads. How do you guys make sure you get all these pieces of technology to fit so well together?
Well, we leverage our web API capabilities and the web API capabilities of our partners like TD Ameritrade that expose the data to us and create meaningful workflows that create efficiencies and drive down the internal costs that our advisors have operating their firms. It's a big deal. Beyond integrations is implementation, making sure that the staff is trained. And so we make available to our advisors 24/7 a whole interactive training capability. And it's made all the difference in driving efficiencies beyond integration to implementation.
I think that's just important to consider. Your technology budget has to include the training piece.
Yes.
Otherwise, it's worthless.
Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to go back to what you said first, which is this lack of diversity, and a thread that's kind of gone throughout this entire conversation, which is how millennials and the next generation are going to drive this industry. As you look to the future of this industry, what's something advisors need to know so that they can stay ahead of the curve?
Well, they need to know that the demographic changes, right? By 2045, we're a majority minority, meaning there's no one majority of race in this country. And so if you want to serve your future clients, you've got to have a team that looks like them. They want to work with people that look like themselves and are going to understand what they're going through. So you've got to make sure that you are looking to hire more diversity of gender, diversity of race, ethnicity, even geographic. And we're doing a lot to make sure you also got diversity of generational, so bringing people back into the workforce, bringing in ex-military, all those people that can help fulfill what this country is going to look like, because it's going to look vastly different, and 2045 is not that far away. If you're not starting now to lay those seeds of bringing in the next generation of talent, right now we're abysmal from a minority perspective in this industry. We've got less than 3.5%. Latino and African American, but what we see is that in the financial planning programs, it's a bit higher. It's getting up there to the 15-20% of incoming classes, which is great. We need to see that continue.
Excellent. Well, I really thank you guys both. I always say, find smart people, surround yourself with smart people. It's going to make you look smarter. You've made me smarter today. Thank you both so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Matt.
you guys. For Investment News, I'm Matt Ackerman.